for our practice today, you might like to have a strap. A block is usually handy, so is a bolster for your comfort and maybe a blanket, but a strap would be really nice to have today. You don't have one, that's not a problem. Just get up, go to your wardrobe. You might find a belt there or a scarf, or maybe you use a larger towel instead. So there's many things in your household that you can use instead of a strap. If you can't find anything, please do not panic. You can do things without it as well. So having said that, as we all got a bit shaken, I would like you all to stand up now, and we will do our class a little bit in reverse today. So that we begin with something a little bit more energizing and maybe getting rid of that inner shake-up that we might have experienced just then. So as we begin in a standing position, just walk a little bit from one foot to the other. You can leave your arms hanging there, or you can give yourself a comforting hug if that's what you prefer to have at the moment. So as we step from one foot to the other, there might be coming in some awareness. Now, although the day might not be the warmest, if you can, just step barefoot and try and squeeze your toes down a little bit as well. And then coming to stand on both of your feet. And basically just lifting all the 10 toes off the floor. And then spreading them down. If you manage, put one down at a time until the big toe lands on the ground. Engaging a little bit more then through the feet into the legs, squeezing your bottom a little bit and starting to wiggle through the shoulders. If you can roll them or you can move them in a way that feels good for you. Just bringing in some movement here before you maintain your lower body strength and release the arms and maybe extend a bit into the fingers. Checking in with your knees. Are they locked? If they are, just slightly unlock the knees, maintaining a little bit of strength around the legs and the buttocks. And while you're next inhaling, just turning your gaze all the way to one side. And when you're exhaling, centering the gaze. So when you're inhaling, turning the head all the way to the other side. And as you're exhaling, centering again. Now, I will ask you to soften the knees even more, even bringing a bit of a bend into the knees and just letting your arms start to flop around the hips. If you want to, you can lift your toes off the floor or your heel, whatever gets you into comfortable twisting action. And then we're using the back of the hand to tap onto the mid-back, while the other hand taps onto the shoulder. So a bit of a clap into our energy center behind us. And one onto the shoulders for being brave enough to show up here for yourself. If your arms, shoulders are feeling brilliant today, you can now extend the arms, full helicopter arms, as you continue your twisting. And then very slowly letting the arm movement become less, and kind of as if you're doing nothing, the arms will just continue for a while as you ground your feet. And we're experiencing the arms just coming to rest by the sides of the body. Maybe you can close the eyes for a moment. Ground again through your feet, reach up through the crown of the head. Take a big breath in. And as you're now breathing out, just dropping your right ear towards the right shoulder. Allowing a bit of length into the side of the neck. Observing again your stance, the position you're in. And then bend your knees really deeply as you let the head roll down and coming back up from the center as you curl up through the back of the neck, lifting the head, the shoulders, and as you shrug them back down, realigning the strength across your feet and legs. And with your next exhale then, dropping the left ear towards the left shoulder and just enjoying a bit of length in the side of the neck, making sure the knees aren't locked. And we'll release that again with the deeper bend into the knees and then a rolling out and downwards. And from there, curling up into standing, shrugging the shoulders back and releasing the arms down. Now I'd love to continue with only 3 rounds of the breath of joy. So I will explain it first before we begin. It's a triple in-breath with an out-breath from the mouth and a swing forward, and there's an arm movement involved. So this is what it looks like. That's the first in-breath, the second part, the third, the arms reaching up, and then comes the out-breath, and we're swinging it through. And you can make a sound here. You could make the sound of either alarm to ground you or just a huge noisy sigh out. Both will serve you well in keeping your feet grounded. So let's begin this movement together. 3 rounds. Inhale, inhale, inhale. Inhale, inhale, inhale. And one more. Allowing yourself to stand again after the 3 rounds and maybe noticing if you've created any changes already. And be that just a deeper awareness of yourself within the space. I will ask you to step onto your mat if you're practicing with one, as we bring our feet a little bit wider apart. Allowing at first the outer edges of the feet to be parallel with each other and with those of the sides of the mat. And we're standing tall, the arms just resting against the legs, the shoulders at ease as we inhale from here. And with the exhale now, starting to tilt the right ear back to the right shoulder, and then slowly leaning into the side. So we're kind of squeezing a little bit into the side of the waist as we're extending a bit through the other. And if that feels good, you can slide your hand up either to your shoulder or all the way over the head, but we're keeping it soft as you might wrap the head with this arm. Notice how that posture might have an impact on your breath. And bend your knees as we release it in a similar way. We're just rolling forward and in, and then pressing down into the feet as we're rising again. Shoulders shrugging back and the hands just resting on the legs. Inhaling here, standing tall. And as you're exhaling, dropping your left ear towards the left shoulder. And then starting to sink in. So no support here, really, just a gentle sliding of the hand down the leg. Feel that squeeze here in the side of the waist. And if this side is something you would like to extend, a hand might slide up the side to the shoulder, or you can wrap your arm over the head as you pause. Also notice if you do go too far, that there's always a way back to the previous shape. We will soften the knees now and allow us to roll all the way forward. Placing your hands down onto the floor or a block if you prepared one. If you find your stance is a little bit short, you might slightly widen it, but keeping the outer edges of the feet parallel. Staying up on your fingertips or a block, lengthen your spine forward, let your shoulders come into ease. Feeling the weight slightly forward in the feet, as you might either plant the hands down or just lower the upper body a little bit more. Keep your hands underneath your shoulders, however far you can go into this standing forward bend, allowing yourself a bend into the knees if that's beneficial, if that allows you to fold a bit deeper. Try not to lock the legs in, because then we might cause damage to our knee joints. And I invite you also to just gently lift the shoulders up and create a bit of space around your neck. And now stay here for 3 deep breaths. Bring your awareness to your out breath and lengthen that. And if you like, you can draw the lower abdomen on that out breath towards your tailbone. So deep, full inhale, and then maybe is supported with inner strength, out breath. Now, once you have completed those 3 rounds of breathing, rise back up onto your fingertips and lengthen your spine. I will ask you to bring the feet in a little bit more from here, so shortening your stance again. We will start with our right foot turning out, and you can bend your left knee for that as you bring your hands now towards the inside of the right foot. Now the legs are lengthening again, and as we lift the fingertips off the floor, reach out from the crown of the head all the way towards the right hand side and touch the palms of your hands together. I'm after Trikonasana, so as you're next inhaling, sliding your left hand up the arm, across the chest, and then extending the arm upwards. This extension of the arm, however, is only an option. Doesn't feel right, place the hand into the side or alongside the body, whichever serves you best. Now, if you get the same feeling here of the squeeze into the side of the waist, ground a bit more through your feet and lengthen the torso again, same as you did when you were reaching over to the right-hand side. So now we don't want to squash into the side, we want to keep everything nice and long. Now, while you're here, put a smile onto your lips, because we're standing, we're bending, and if you would like to do a little bit more, bring a brief bend into both of your knees, swing the upper arm back and down, and then straighten the legs again as your arm might extend over the head. If you feel now you can't breathe properly, take that arm back up, no harm done, or back into the side of the waist. Wherever you would like it to be, take one more breath here. And then let's release. Release that arm back down. Bring your hands onto your shin. Take the back foot. Step it a little bit in and out. So that when you're reaching forward again, all the way to the right, you will find a balanced stance here. If you've got a wall behind you, you may use this for the revolved triangle, but you could also just simply stay here. Taking the outer side of your left hand against the outside of your front leg. Bringing your right hand into the side of the waist. And while you're grounding through both of your feet, start to turn the body if you like. Turning it all the way across. And those of you who feel in that twist, you can lift the right arm, you could do so. Notice how that impacts your whole body. Just a twist within the triangle. Have you kept the length in your torso? Can you reach out forward a little bit more? We will release this. So let's release our hands back down either side of the right foot. Step the left foot a little bit back. Bring your knee down to the ground. Untuck the toes. And you can lean a little bit forward here into the lunge. Make sure that you can wiggle your right foot a bit further forward so we're not moving the knee beyond the ankle, and just allowing yourself to sink in for a moment. Beautiful. Let's lift the hips again. Tuck the back toes under. Lift the knee and walk the hands all the way across to the other side as you turn your left foot out. You might want to slide the right foot in a little so the stance isn't too wide. As we bring our hands to touch there, lengthening the spine forward all the way over to the left, as if the crown of the head could reach even further. With the next inhale then, start to open the right hand, slides up your arm, crosses over the chest, and maybe extends all the way. Too much, keep the hand in the side of the waist instead, or resting alongside the body. Notice your legs becoming stronger in this support. Notice if you're collapsing downwards. If you are, keep reaching out with the crown of the head. Find extra length. You can also stand a little bit taller still to facilitate that space in the lower side. Now, if you feel you want to do more, bend both of your knees, swing your upper arm back and down, and then take it all the way over the head. I won't hold that on this side, but you could, palm facing down and refraining from that collapse into the lower side of the body. Take another breath before we will release that. We will soften our body down, taking the hands against the shin there, stepping the back foot a bit in and out. And you can press down into the shin while you're lengthening your whole spine forward. You can stay absolutely here if you like. You can also use the wall again. As you place the back of your right hand against the outside of the front leg and bring the other hand into the side of the waist. Maintaining the length here, and then from there, could you start to roll the left shoulder back, going into the revolved version of the triangle. I'm aware that this start is quite strong, so please make your choices as you could reach your left arm up to the ceiling if you were to extend Parivrtta Trikonasana, or the revolved triangular shape. Keep your length in the body. And before we will soften, the hands landing down either side of the foot. Step the back foot back further, lower the knee down, untuck the toes, and maybe be prepared to wiggle the left foot further forward so your knee doesn't come any further than over the ankle, sinking a little bit in as we lean forward. I will ask you from here to slide the left foot in as well and come onto all fours. Spreading your hands out in the cat position. Inhale here, nice and long. And as you're exhaling, squeeze your left hip up and your left shoulder down as you turn your gaze across. Another squeeze into the side of the waist now. And as you inhale, center yourself again. And now take your right hip out, your right shoulder down towards the hip, looking back. Then inhale to come forward, lifting your tail and lifting your gaze. And while you're breathing out, round your back and sit towards the heels. We'll keep this going for a moment as you're inhaling, all fours, tail gaze lifted. And with the exhale, round your back and retreat again to the extended child's pose. On the inhale, rising. On the exhale, rounding to sit back. Repeat that for 2 more. Finding your pace there as you inhale and exhale. We'll finish in a softly extended child's pose. And if you like your forehead to rest down, you can have that. You could also support that with a block. Turn the palms of the hands upwards. Maybe slide the elbows a bit in so you're really comfortable. And if that's not comfortable, lengthen the arms down by the sides of the body, palms facing up. Allowing yourself to be in deep contact, not just with the ground, but turning yourself inward and allowing your breath to guide you into a calmer state. With the earth no longer shaking, we can allow ourselves to release any fears that we might have had, knowing that when we're turning back inside, we're focusing on ourself, the awareness we can create will guide us into a more peaceful state of mind. Asking you with your next out breath to slowly curl yourself up into a seat and to take your legs out in front. We will continue from a seated form by touching the soles of the feet together. You can take a hold here simply of your lower legs or your ankles. If it's comfortable for you to bring the feet in a little, you could interlace your hands across your toes, allowing yourself to sit up tall, maybe even to close your eyes, taking a deep breath in. Slow breath out as you engage into Mula Bandha by drawing the lower belly down towards the tailbone. Do let that go as you're inhaling. And when you're next exhaling, sway gently from side to side, keeping your spine long, your gaze forward, even if your eyes are closed, as you find maybe a deeper stretch. If you struggle to find an opening on the inside of your legs, that could be perfectly normal. It's your great flexibility in that case. In that case, I would ask you to press down into the legs and lift the legs into the elbows and hold the tension for a bit before releasing that tension on the out-breath. If you prefer to surrender because the sensations are strong, you might round your back and lower the head towards your toes. You can keep working with the resistance and release, or just surrendering yourself and also using release while you're exhaling simply. One more breath. Before gently rolling up into sitting again. We'll practice another twist. So taking your right leg, and if you know you're quite tight in the hips and this was very intense, please extend the right leg out. If you feel you're quite mobile there, slide the right leg underneath your left and place the foot to the outside of the hip, so avoiding to sit on it. You can place your left foot down just right here on the inside of the leg, or you can step the foot to the outside of the leg. Take a hold of your knee and just sit up nice and tall as you breathe in. Make sure your shoulders are at ease. And we will take our left hand fingertips and place them right behind us. You can keep the hold of the hand on the knee as you breathe out for a twist. So we're making sure that the shoulders are still relaxed. If you want to go deeper and it feels right, you could wrap your elbow around the knee and hug the leg in a little bit more deeply. If any of you are really into further, deeper twists than this, you would know what to do. I won't guide you there today because I'd really love you to relax the shoulders and hug the leg in nice and tightly as you're twisting. Keeping yourself upright and tall. We'll stay here for a couple of breaths. Once you completed those couple of breaths, take an inhale to turn your head forward and then gently unravel as you come to the front. Let's step your feet down in front of you and making a similar choice for the other side. Left leg can extend out long if there's a tightness in the hips. Otherwise, you might slide the left leg underneath to place the foot to the outside of the hip. Right foot can remain on the inside or can step to the outside of the other leg. We're taking a hold of the knee again, just to lengthen ourselves into an upright seat. The right hand swings behind, fingertips to the floor behind your back. And then the out breaths as we use just the hand on the knee for a twist. Make sure the shoulders still feel at ease, especially if you choose to wrap your arm around the knee or go even deeper into your twist. It's actually not necessarily that we're turning more deeply, but there could be benefits in bringing the arm further across. So just notice where you are at and then be with it and breathe. One more breath. And when you then next take an inhale, turn the head back forward, unwind, unravel your legs as well, bring them out long and give them a little shake. I think today, and very fitting for what my theme is, we will continue on with a few rounds of Nadi Shodhana, alternate nostril breathing. So keep your strap near the mat before you sit yourself into a comfortable seat. You can use your block to sit on, either in an easy pose or maybe sitting towards your heels with or without a block underneath you. So please find a seat that is very comfortable for you. Close the eyes if possible, otherwise steady your gaze, and then shift the weight towards the back, because oftentimes we lean a little bit forward. I would love you to sit very centered. Turn the shoulders a bit backwards, give them a little squeeze, and then release the hands down. For alternate nostril breathing, we use a hand position, and I use my right hand for it. So the right hand thumb and the ring finger, I fold my little finger in, and sometimes it feels good to place index and middle finger on the third eye point. On other times, it feels better to fold it into the palm of your hand, your choice. Make sure that shoulder stays at ease. And if you know that arm has a tendency to be heavy, place the other hand underneath the elbow as a support. Making sure that your posture doesn't change. We have a tendency here to round ourselves forward over the course of time. So imagine that you're comfortably leaning against the wall, if you aren't. Touching the right hand thumb towards the right nostril and gently closing it off. Breathe out of your left. Then we begin inhaling left nostril. Close it, open the right and exhale from the right nostril. Inhaling through the right nostril. Close it, open the left and breathe out from the left nostril. That was one cycle. We'll just continue inhaling left. Exhaling right. Inhaling right. Exhaling left. Now, please just continue. If you find your nostrils are too blocked to continue, rest your hands down and visualize the alternating of the nostrils as you breathe in through one and out through the other. And if you're quite comfortable with the technique as it is, you can of course keep it like this. But if you're quite familiar, you might add a full yogi breath or even ujjayi breath to this practice as you inhale and exhale. Trying to keep the breath reasonably even between the lengths of in and out breaths. And rather having the out breath a little bit longer than shorter. Stay with that in stillness for a few more rounds. Finishing one more round after the current one. When you completed that, keep the posture, but rest your hands down. This technique is said to bring in balance between the two sides and the two different qualities that these sides have. Beginning on the left, we're encouraging more the relaxation response in the body. And your eyes to blink open. And you can remove any support, but you might want to keep the block by the side of the mat if you've been sitting on it. And we'll find our way down onto the back. Taking the block, and we will place the block underneath our left foot. If you do have something like a strap, take that. Bringing your right knee up and the strap around the ball of the right foot. Sliding your hands down on either end of the strap, and I will call it that no matter what you've actually got. If it's long enough, let the shoulders and elbows rest to the floor. With the strap around the ball of the foot, you can hold on quite firmly to the leg and maybe already experience a sensation of lengthening. If that's enough for you, please stay here. And while you're breathing out, if you choose to go deeper, draw on that strap and bring the leg in a little bit more. The left leg is supported, maybe even on a block, as you draw this straight leg in towards your body. Allowing just the out breath to help you bring length into the back of the leg. And with that, expanding our back line. Bringing a bend into the knee as you remove the strap and give the knee a squeeze in. Push the block over towards the right-hand side and step the right foot onto the block. Taking your strap again as you lift your left knee up and then wrapping the strap around the ball of the left foot. Extending the leg towards the ceiling this way. And again, if the strap is long enough, make sure that the elbows and shoulders are resting. Just by holding on here, you might experience a sensation of lengthening behind your leg. And again, you're very welcome to do nothing else but just hold here. If it seems beneficial, you could, on the out breath, pull a little bit more and bring the leg a bit closer towards you. Please make sure that the shoulders, elbows are at ease or on the floor. You can hold here and relax into this stretch, or you can deepen it on out breath if you prefer. Noticing in the contrast that brings balance to this stretch, the elevation of the opposite leg, completely relaxing the leg, the hip, the psoas on that side. And to release, bend your left knee, remove the strap, take a hold of the knee, give it a good squeeze and a hug in. And then push the block out of the way as you step both feet down onto the ground. Let your arms fall away from the body and gently wiggle the shoulders towards the floor. Keep your feet grounded down as you inhale And turn your head all the way towards the right. Exhale and bring your head to center. And inhale, turn the head all the way to the left. And exhale to center it again. This is a good opportunity now to get really comfortable. So if you have a bolster with you, you might slide that underneath your knees. If you feel better extending the legs out, you could do so, letting them roll apart so they get out of touch. If it feels better for your back to keep the feet on the ground, of course, that's another option. So I'd ask you to wiggle enough just to be perfectly at ease, allowing the body to become a bit heavier. As the body is finding its place, bring the awareness back to the nostrils. Breathing in through the left and out of the right. Breathing in through the right and out through the left. Then let that go and notice how the body's feeling now. Please stay in Shavasana. And you can choose to keep the awareness right in that stillness that you've created for yourself. Or you could choose to listen to a few words about one of the yamas, one of our guidelines for living in yoga, ahimsa, non-violence, non-harming. Most of us know about those guidelines of yoga, and sometimes it's a good idea to bring them back to mind. Violence can disguise itself very well. It can be hidden in thoughts of disappointment, resentment, guilt, shame. It can be hidden in actions we make from fear. It can express itself in an inner conflict we might have. As we seek inner peace through ahimsa, allowing us to come to peace in interactions with others. Our human mind, although we might believe that we are a non-violent person, has aspects of ahimsa within it. Instead, we might embrace and act from inner truth, as truth and non-violence, ahimsa, are a pair. Another way to bring ahimsa into your life is through compassion. Its ability to accept events as they are with an open heart, letting go of reacting in any negative way and replacing those thoughts, feelings with kindness and acceptance. Maybe take this next moment to bring something to mind where you are reacting with violence, and be that just inner doubt, disappointment, grief, whatever it might be. Let it sit there. Imagine you could literally open your heart and shower this thought with love and compassion. The yoga practice of ahimsa can easily move into all aspects of your life. Yoga creates a peaceful reconciliation with your true nature. Ahimsa comes from love of the true self, from true self-acceptance. This ahimsa comes from deep in the heart. Allowing yourself to deepen the breath. Starting to move a little. And if you prefer to just stay there, please do. If you choose to roll over to your side, to then come up into a seated shape, do so gently, slowly, and mindfully. When you come to sit, open the palms of your hands. It's a gesture of welcoming whatever there is for us today. And as we gather all that there is, we'll draw our hands together in front of the heart, touching the thumbs lightly to the sternum. I'm currently holding a fair bit here, so my palms aren't quite touching, and I'm cupping what I collected. We'll complete our practice with one Om, the universal sound that brings us all together, followed by 3 Shantis, which means peace. Let's breathe in and out together. Inhaling for the Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. We lift our heart, gently bow our head. Take ahimsa with you into your day, sharing the love with each other as we extend. Namaste.